Hiya folks, and welcome to another Irish whiskey review with me, Marty Macaulay. I hope you're all safe and well at this extremely strange time. We are back into another non-lockdown lockdown. You're allowed to go out if it's necessary travel, which is apparently different from essential travel. I'm not 100% sure why. I don't think anybody's 100% sure why. But everywhere's closed. So there's no pubs open, no restaurants open, no cafes open. But the only thing open is the shops to go and buy some groceries. Yeah, so a very strange time. I have a bit of a dry throat tonight. Hope it's not COVID. Anyway, so tonight we are Killowen. Now you probably recognise the bottle by now, but this is Tequila Cask. Yeah, it makes me happy. I said tequila. Now, tequila, for anyone who doesn't know, tequila is made using the agave plant, blue agave, and it comes from the tequila region in Mexico. We are very used to not to cast aspersions on the good people who own Bush Mills, but we're used to very cheap tequila blanco, white tequila, that when you're young and silly, back in the day, you used to put salt so it dries out your mouth, tequila, lemon so you don't taste the tequila. When you take stuff to not taste the spirit, this is a sign that it's not that good. Okay, it's designed to do one thing. I don't condone this in any way, but we all did it at one point. So it's not a healthy way of doing anything, folks. But when you're young and silly, you can do these things and think you're doing okay, but it really doesn't do you any good in the long term. So, tequila cask. Tequila can be aged. We are used to white tequila, tequila blanco, but aged tequila, it has three different categories. You have reposado, which is aged basically up to 2 years, kind of. Tequila can be reposado and aged for about 3 months, 4 months. I think technically it has to be at least two before it gets that category. Um, Up to 2 years, it's reposado. After 2 years, it's añejo, and now there's a fairly recent thing, uh, extra añejo or ultra añejo, where it's aged for maybe 3 4 years. Some tequilas can be aged much longer than that, but they cost money, these ones, as it ages. It's not like a whiskey. If it's aged in Mexico, you have heat and humidity coming in, depending on time of year and all this kind of stuff, and that means you have an angel share coming out of it. So you have these different categories, but it can be aged. Uh, I, I I actually poured this. I started doing this recording and then something happened. My phone, it just cut out, so I had to stop. So I had this poured out. So this is 388 bottles, 55.4%, and this is important for people in the know. Distilled in Ireland, 75% 2009 grain whisky, 5% 2008 malt Irish whisky distilled in Northern Ireland, 20% 2008 malt Irish whisky. Now you might think, where could these ingredients come from? They come from County Louth and County Antrim. I wonder where they could have come from. Now this is important, folks. Going forward for Killowen, it's important, and you'll see it later date. Now, the label, when I got the label, you see the damage on the label? There's most of the bottles that went out, there's a little bit of damage on them. These are a very small outfit, guys, so you can expect little quirky things like that every so often. It's non-chill filtered. It's an integrity bottling is what they call it. Straight from the cask, straight in the bottle. So much so that this wasn't delivered by the postman. This was delivered by the coalman. Do you see? Can you see the bits of char floating about in it? Yeah, it's like one of those snow globes that you used to get. Remember when your granny went to Blackpool? She brought you back like a snow globe. Now, we'll just do a fresh one. They put this black wax on this. I struggled to get this off because the black wax started to turn on the cap, which meant I couldn't get a grip. Eventually it came. But now it's 55.4, so you don't need a huge portion. You don't want necessarily a full-size sample. Now, I'll give this a little swirl. I kind of know where I'm at a little bit with this. My little silver spoons. This spoon carries about half a teaspoon. I know that at 55.4, that's about 1.5 teaspoons of those little spoons. Now, give it a little swirl. Let you see the colour. Nice golden colour. Obviously there's no colour in it, no E150A. Now, on the nose, quite herbal, a lot of wood. It's a little bit earthy, but it's kind of got a mineral earthiness to it that, if I'm honest, there's not a lot behind it. It's not it's the earthy sort of herbal note. It's slightly mineral-esque, which to me just tells you there's not a huge depth in the nose. It doesn't come through. It's quite sharp wood. There's a green wood to it that I don't think the Tequila Cask's added an awful lot to this. In fact, I think it's probably taken a little bit away from it. Not to be down on it, but the quality of the liquid that's in this, we've seen the quality of the liquid in this, because it's exactly the same liquid in this that went into the rum cask, which is packed full of flavour. The Tequila Cask, that when you work with it, you get a nice spot and it comes out. With this, I haven't worked a huge amount with this, but you have to remember it's cask strength. So there's actually been sort of 4 attempts with this, and I've had 1.5, I've had a 1, I've had a bit more, I've took it too far, and that's heading towards 2 teaspoons in that now, and it hasn't helped it in any way. Now, the nose hasn't really worked for me. On the palate, woody, again quite herbal, slight touch of smoke. Once you put 2 teaspoons of water in it, there's a slight mentally taste to it that it's quite lifting. I want to say there's a little touch of smoke to it. which is probably coming in from the tequila. Anyone that knows about tequila, they if it's a good quality tequila, they smoke it, they break down the piña, and that opens up the fructans, that breaks it down and allows the sugars to come out. A little bit of smoke coming in. I'm going to say the tequila cask in this is a really good tequila cask, because it's kind of matching the quality of the spirit, but it's not adding anything to it. I don't think it lends that much to the flavour of it, the casking of it. The whiskey itself's good, we know that, but in terms of additions to flavour, it's not helping that huge amount. Finish, a little bit of white fruit, a bit of pear. The wood's coming in again, a little touch of smoke. The finish is of a decent length, but there's just not a huge amount of development in the finish. I don't think this is not my favourite from Killowen. It's an experimental cask. Some experiments work, folks. Most of them don't. That's just the nature of things. Not a huge fan of this, but there's more to come from Killowen. We know that. But this doesn't really hit the mark for me, if I'm honest. So, out of 10, well, I know the whiskey's quite good. This would work quite well in some cocktails. It would lend itself quite well to that kind of thing, but just not for me. It's just not really what I would go for. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. And yeah, 5 out of 10. So, again, folks, stay safe. I wish you well, and go whiskey. Take care.